This ain't living.
Bonnie and Clyde saga was important at the time because of how important the Depression was and how important the interaction of the Depression, which was a horrible time in a very poor part of our country.
I think the Depression era itself started a crime wave because people were starving and they didn't know what else to do. And the Barrow family, they lacked education. Buck and Clyde started stealing chickens. Before banks, it was chickens and turkeys.
I got it! Hey! Come on, Marvin!
Because it was survival, first and foremost.
They were so poor and so disenfranchised and not educated past a certain point. We can't even fathom the level of poverty that we were in that time.
I had this romanticized idea of them in my head, and I didn't realize how hard their life on the road would have been. And they were only robbing small stores most of the time, and so they only had kind of small change. They lived in campsites and out of the car.
The common people, they felt like everything was against them. There was no money, and so when Bonnie and Clyde were robbing banks, it was a chance to strike back at the man in a certain sense.
There's no money in the vault.
Well, he's clearly lying. He's a banker, that's what they do.
Why isn't it locked? Well, like I said, there's a depression on, banks closing.
It was a time when the public was sort of very anti-government. They were pissed. It was the Depression. People were poor and hungry and losing their jobs. They thought they were stealing from the man. And that was exciting to people. And they were also glamorous and beautiful and young and in love, and no one had ever seen anything like that in America before.
It became a fascination for most of the country who was going through so many struggles. And I think that for them, once the notoriety started, it was that feeling of that rush that they had, that they needed that. They needed the money to survive. It was a deadly combination.